How's it going, internet? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get creative. It's time to get those imaginative juices flowing. It's time to get animating, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from LeUyen Pham. And if you're not familiar with her work, check out over here. I first came familiar, as I've talked before. I'm a huge Prince of Persia, Jordan Mechner fan. So she did a great graphic novel that was based in the Prince of Persia universe, and I just love the way that her inks and her pencils and the way that she lays out a page. It's just really great. She's done tons of children's books and everything, but there's just such a lovely quality to her work that I really appreciate. And you can see very expressive, very tending towards animation, facial expressions and posing and everything. And I believe that she worked for DreamWorks for a little while as well, so you can see that influence definitely in her illustration. But she's got these great lines and everything too. I just really love her work. Such great layouts and composition and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and read a couple of quotes that I found from her as well. I'm one of those illustrators who will remain strapped to the drawing for days on end if somebody doesn't stop me. I think that's a great way to be. I know that if I can get on those days where I just lose track of time while I'm working, I know that those are the days where I'm really like in that zone I'm working, and that's one of those places that I love to be. And I don't think every day is one of those days. I think definitely you can tell as you're a creative person, I'm sure, that you have your on days and your off days, but I love it when you can get those days where you're just devoured by your work and you lose track of time, you lose track of everything, and you're just so engrossed in it. And that's the time where those muses are really visiting you, and I think that's a great way. And then as far as she said, like, her advice for people who are just starting out is keep at it. Draw what you love, not what you think others will like or what's in vogue. And I think that's so true. If you find what you're passionate about, you're gonna spend that extra effort to make it really pop and really top-notch stuff. So don't worry about whatever is popular right now, but just find whatever it is that that speaks to you, that you really resonates with you, and that's in your wheelhouse, and just work with that and keep at it, and don't get frustrated, don't lose hope, just keep going. I know, especially with doing stuff on YouTube, I'm tempted a lot of times to be like, well, this is really what's popular on YouTube right now, so I should do a video like that. But I think it's more important to stay true to what what you're interested in and what gets you motivated and everything, because then your videos are real and there's some truth behind it. So I think that's important as well, to whatever medium that you're working with, to not be tempted to just go with what's popular right now, but to try to, as a creative artist in whatever medium it is, that you stay true to that, and that you just don't lose faith and keep going every day. So that being said, let's go ahead and take a look at the rig we're going to be using today. This is the Mortimer mouse rig. It's a free rig you can grab from Creative Crash, and I will throw a link to it in the information below, along with a link to all of LeUyen Pham stuff, her blog, and her couple of probably graphic novels and stuff from her. And I'm just going to turn this up really quick just because it's really dark in here, so bear with me a second. It's a little dark today. So what we're going to do, we'll give ourselves 48 frames and see what we can come up with. I've never used this rig before, so that'll bring up some new challenges and everything too. And then let's go ahead and create Polygon Primitives Cube. And I'm just going to create a base here for this guy. And that should be a little bit brighter. No? Okay. Oh well. I just have to deal with it being a little dark today. Sorry about that. But yeah, what we do, give ourselves 48 frames, about 2 seconds of animation, and see what kind of interesting stuff we can come up with. It's a little bit of over-the-shoulder stuff where you guys just can watch me animate. I'll try to do a bit of instruction along the way, and hopefully in the end you guys get challenged or inspired to go off and create your own stuff, and then don't forget to share it back so I can see all the amazing stuff you guys are creating. Alright, that being said, let's get into starting this guy. So I think we just do kind of a fun, bouncy-ish kind of a walk. I was thinking kind of a little vanilla with a little bit of personality. I want to puff his chest out here. for a sec while we get that tail up. Now this is kind of a funkier tail, so I'm not sure exactly how we're going to approach that. To be able to do some more posing with this tail, but I don't know if that's going to be something that we can do here. See, we really break the tail if we try to get like that. Okay, let's see if we can keep something like that. It's too much here. It is going to be kind of a funky shape, though. We don't really have a ton of options here. From here. I think I'll just leave the tail with just a little bit of a curve. Just to start off. Zero that all here. I'm just going to leave it like that for right now. I'll keep it real vanilla. Just because it's not really working the way that I was hoping. I think we'll tip his head up and make him kind of feel happy. Maybe we'll do it. Just want to create kind of a very personality style pose here. Arms here. Side view, he's kind of got a little bit of a, I like the side a little bit better, maybe even a 3/4, but straight on I just feel like there's some shaped a little bit differently to be a little bit stronger. So before we go too much further, let's turn everything off and just put on our NURB curves, NURB surfaces, and our polygons. I'll go ahead and highlight the grid there, and I'll turn the layer back on there, and let's go ahead and save our file before we get too far in here. And we are using Maya 2014 today as well. It's a great program. I'll have a link to it in the information below as well if you guys want to check that out. Just so dark in here today. Let's just call this Mortimer look. Save that. Continue. And let's see if we can't get some better feet poses here. think I'm like a loose kind of clinch here. Let's go bend those in. And bend those in. Doesn't have to be a tight clinch. And I like that very much. Okay, let's try that again. Kind of funky that the twist and the index is off from my other fingers, but that's okay. Still workable. I'm glad that they give us some extra controllers so we can get in there and do that though. I feel like it should be kind of like proper and confident kind of feel to this thing. Okay, let's do a little bit on this hand here. Let's get that thumb in there. I'll spread it out a little bit more. Can't go back as far as I think. I wanted to kind of get it out a little bit more, but buff that out a little more. Down a little bit more. Okay, we can go that far. Okay, I think that's okay place to start. Let's they have controllers for those ears. No, there. More of a smile. A little bit about that. Okay. Mouth. A little bit. Let's do that. About eyes. Okay, it's kind of just an off and on there, I guess. And alright, I think that'll work. So let's switch our frame range here from 0 to 48. I'm a little worried about how that tail's going to work with all those, but we'll get there when we get there. So we just have our nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and polygons. Let's go ahead and save our file one more time. And we'll go ahead and start laying down the foundation for this thing. Okay. Set our first key there. And I feel like I might want this one to be a little bit quicker, so so let's do it on 10s instead of 12s. 50, so 48 frames. Okay, now why are those eyes like popped back there? Let's just delete that. Again, we're just laying the foundation. We're just doing the hips and the feet here, and then probably the tail. So alright, this is kind of little. It's okay. Like that. Like that. Set that key, move that forward here, and hips forward there. Definitely, seems like, I think this one's a bit of an older rig from one of the ones on Creative Crash. This one is probably from around 2010, this rig, so it's got some problems that usually are cleaned up in the newer rigs, but overall it's still a very cute rig, and I think with a little bit of extra work and love we can get some fun animation up there. And that's part of the fun challenge of grabbing a new rig that I share with you guys every day, is that there's different challenges and stuff to approach with each rig, so it gives us different stuff to work on and try out and fix and all that stuff. And whiskers are for some reason that was like keyed down there for the whiskers. That's kind of weird. Okay, I think we got all the basics. Let's go back and turn everything off except for our nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and our polygons. We'll get back into the tail later, but I just wanted it to not completely be distracting. Let's pull those hips forward a little more. And let's go into our graph editor. And then I think we're going to try doing it like we did yesterday, where we show the graph editor on screen, so bear with me 1 second. Let's see if we can't get that to here. Okay, 1 second here. Just going to shrink that down there, pop that up, and minimize this guy. If I did that right, let's see if that works. Yep, the graph editor down there. Okay. So let's go ahead and watch that now. That lets us get into the graph editor and have that on the full screen here, so that hopefully you guys can see more of what I'm doing with the graph editor. And we're just going to take, this is the translate Z, this is the left to right movement. We're going to even that out and flatten that out so that's a consistent movement on the hips throughout. So it doesn't have a slow in or slow out on there, which would be fine if that's what we were going for, but we just want to do a walk here. I feel like we didn't really use that. More forward here. this foot needs to be up a little bit more. So let's just let that stay there. Same with this one. I feel like the default is a little too intersecting into the ground. So let's pick that up a little further. Let's see here. Alright. Just gonna push that forward a little bit more. Start off with a little string. Forward of it. Here. Just kind of want to make sure that he feels still balanced there. Back just a little. It's pretty balanced. Feels fairly balanced. I think we can push it forward just a little bit. Still pretty balanced. Good. Check the distance and spacing between the feet. Make sure that's kind of similar there. Okay, let's go and get those. Again, key down. We're just going to nail in all of those keys again. Yeah, let's get those passing positions in here. Okay. Figure out why that's going like that. And put it down. So let's just need some up on that passing position. It narrows down our options. We can't go down on those passing, but that's okay. Sometimes you got to use go with what you're given, and it'll help dictate the character as well. You only have a certain amount of options you can do with it, then you have to work within those constraints here. So let's see here. Alright, let's go ahead and clean up those up and downs here. Let's go and take a look at that now. And now let's get into the other foot. Again, we're just gonna go ahead and go back and just hit S on the keyboard, and that's just gonna nail down those keys again, just so we don't lose those, because those are where we want that foot planted there. Then we're gonna raise the foot up, bring it back down, raise the foot up, down. And let's go ahead and balance out those steps. So grab the translate Y's on both. We're just going to kind of find an even balance between the two. We lowered it too much. Let's raise it up a little more. These guys need to be up a little bit higher. side here. Let's drag that foot back a little bit. We already had those keyed in. It'll go back to where I do feel like this foot might need to raise up higher a little. Let's go ahead and watch that now. A little bit more. The feet are a little uneven in how they were laid out. One foot seems like it's starts off a little bit lower than the other. Now let's go into the hips here. Let's do a little bit of lean to that side there, and to this side here. Side there. Just gonna favor the planted foot there. Make sure our weight's still gonna be distributed in a realistic fashion. Let's zero that out. Let's go ahead and clean up those translates here. Again, thanks everyone for all the likes and subscribes. You guys are awesome. I hope you're enjoying this series and that you're learning a lot and trying a lot and pushing yourselves every day as well. And let's do a little bit of rotate here. Favoring this one. Planted foot. We'll have to be aware of how much we do because it looks like we're getting some deformation. It's okay, I can go in and clean that up. I just want to make sure that we're getting this feel in there. And let's go ahead and clean that up a little bit more. And again, we're doing, normally we do kind of a base 6 system for our steps, and this is like a base 5 system for our steps, so it's a little bit quicker. But it's a small guy in small steps, so that's okay to have quicker steps. And now let's go ahead and do a little bit of rotate to favor that forward step. That forward step. That one, I feel like this might be too much, so I'll definitely scale that back. But we're just laying the groundwork here for it. Offset the chest from what we did here. Okay. Rotate Z. Either we're doing too much here or not enough on the hips there, so. I'm doing those on the wrong frames, that's why. I'm doing base 5 system. I was wondering why those weren't looking right. I'm doing this right. Side stretch and that side squash. That's what I'm looking for. And stretch and squash. And zero that one. Okay, let's go. Okay, that looks about right. Now let's go ahead and maybe pull that down a little bit more. It's feeling pretty good though. I think we just need to find a good spot to rein it into. But I feel overall it's working pretty well. Watch that now. And let's do a little bit of rotate Y to favor that front arm. And so again, it's probably going to be too much, so we'll tone it down in a sec, but we're just laying it in. Okay. but I just grabbed the top too. That's why it wasn't looking right. Okay. So again, we're just going to go back in and go there. Okay, let's go ahead and tone that stuff down a lot too. Why it wasn't looking right, it's because we only had the top. I'll do a little bit more though. I feel like that's a little too toned down, so I like a little bit of that feeling. Waddle-ish, since it's got such a big derriere. And again, we're going to go back in here, back where we were a couple minutes ago. It's always good to try to clean up any messes you make as soon as you do, so that you don't forget about them. Like, we could have gone back and done something else, but while you're working on it, I tend to like doing more of like a layered method where I do like the hips and really kind of lock in the hips is where they're going, and then go in and do the chest, and then go in and do the head, and kind of make sure that you're really locking down stuff as you go. And then you can always do tweaks and stuff once you've got the basis stuff down. But too much on the head, so let's go back in here. Just to try and make it so the head's not so wobbly. Just made it more wobbly, so let's figure out why that is. Just want to tone down what the head was doing before. Let's see here. See, maybe that's too much. It's either too much or not enough. Isn't that life, though? Maybe we can delay it 2 frames. Let's see here. Let's amp it up. Let's see if that balances everything out. Okay, well, let's go tone everything down. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, let's do a little bit of swing on the arms. Let's watch it from this side. Same timing. Let's watch here. It just depends. Sometimes you want a big swing back, and sometimes you don't. And let's do a little bit here. Up and down. Up. Let's see. Way too much. Let's do that guy. Back down. Don't want hardly any of that. Just a little feel that it's not locked off. So let's go towards that now. Maybe even a little less. It's pretty close though. Let's see here. And then we can add a little and here. Probably tone that down some more. Just feels a little over the top. And it's animation, so we can do some over the top, but I don't know if that's necessarily how much I want it to be. So let's see here. Go and save that, and let's go ahead and do the other arm. I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm just not going to have it swing back so much. So on the other side, we had it mostly forward throughout the whole thing. Just a little bit of recoil. Recurl, that's not the right word. And swing forward. Forward. Swing. Swing forward, let's see. And down. Let's see. Let's clean that up a little bit more. It's pretty close though to where I want it. And let's do a little bit of hand here. Down. Okay. Too much. So I think I'm gonna do something more into that overall. Just adjust it, not just on the movement, but in the overall posing. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do, let's save our file again. Let's see if we can get a little bit of compression and stuff in here. So let's go ahead and pull it back. Push it forward. And push it forward. And then we'll offset this stuff with the chest movements. Okay, so let's clean that stuff up. Okay, let's go. Offset it by doing opposite in the chest. So when that pulls back, we want to scrunch it forward. And then pull back, scrunch it forward. Pull back. And then it's just going to be kind of a tweaking game between moving the chest and hips to find a good balance between the two. Because that's way too much right now. So we don't want it to be jerky, to feel smooth, like butter. Let's go ahead and see it. See if we can just do this a little bit here. This is just going to be pretty much the hips instead of having it be the root controller. It's nice when they give you a hips and a root, because then you can do a little bit of delay and offset and a little more movement in there. So just to kind of bounce the belly a little bit there, which is nice. I like it when rigs have a hip controller and a root controller. Let's tone it down a little bit though. Let's go watch it. No, not really. We're just going to kind of do all the stuff we had on the root controller already, but then if we can delay it a frame or so, it's just going to add that little bit of texture to the bottom here. And I literally mean to the bottom. And it doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit, so we can just add that little bit of, salt or pepper to this part of our animation. Just to make it so it's not one note. And do rotate Z here. Let's go ahead and tone it down. Grab everything we have here and delay it a frame. Let's see if we can't do a little bit of toe movement here. That's not going to be it. Frames and flatten it out. The thing with this is we're going to have to lift those feet up a little bit. It would be nice if we could actually get in and do those toes, but it doesn't look like we have for those. This will have to work. Something I didn't need to here. Let's see, what was that? It's a total. Sure that I didn't go back. So let's really tone down this ball roll a lot. It's too heavy and it's too much. It's intersecting. I just wanted to add some texture to it, not really change up too much from what we had already. So let's try that. Do a little bit more here. I think we're gonna have to raise. Let's see. So it's two more frames. So much open. A ton of variation. Just a little bit. Just to kind of make that up here. Okay, let's kind of save what we have, and then we'll do a little bit of hands, and then we'll attempt doing some stuff with that tail if we can get that to work. Let's take that index spread and forward a frame, and ring spread, and we'll drag it back a frame. And maybe we just kind of minimize what we have a little bit more and even it out. It's just sort of kind of keep alive. It's not necessarily something I want attention to go to. Forward. Push it forward. And then again, index spread and push it forward a frame. And ring spread. Back a frame. And then let's go with the thumb. So that's a little bit different timing and a little bit different movement there. Let's do a little bit of thumb animation here as well. And sorry, phone's just vibrating over there. There's a little bit of movement on the thumb. Exact, it's okay. Some sort of keep alive. Let's go back and save our file here, and let's see if we can get a little bit. Gotta figure out what it is doing here. Okay, let's clean it up so it's a consistent movement there. I think I'm just gonna worry about this end piece, unfortunately. Don't feel like it's set up the best way, or at least in a way that I'm super familiar with. Which is unfortunate because I'd love to be able to get in there and read with it some more, but that's okay. So just want a little bit of bounce there. And I'm not going to focus too much on this tail since it's kind of a little bit funky. I don't want it to get too much. We just want a little bit of movement there. And like I said, it's delayed about 2 frames. So let's see here. And maybe the other thing I could do is kind of do a little bit of swing on there as well. Again, not exactly what I'd like for it to be, but I think it's workable for what we have to work with. And I'm just going to tone him and swing on the side to side a little bit more. There's more for those whiskers, see if I can find that again. I'll just leave it. It's going to do a little bounce on there, but I think it's kind of rigged a little bit different. One other thing I'm probably going to do is I'm going to lift the tail over universally up a little bit more, just so that it's out of view. Camera angle, let's go. Probably push those hips just a titch. And then we can move it up just a little bit as well. Okay, let's go more center. One other thing I might see if we can get a little bit of heel move in there. So foot roll would be down. Down. Just so that that doesn't lock off. Okay. You guys adjust a little bit. Don't need a lot, but just so that doesn't lock off. Let's see here. That's another way to do that. Let's go ahead and turn our nerve curves off. So, observe surfaces and polygons and the zoom in a little more. That's good offset. Feels pretty good. Again, I would love to be able to get into that tail a little bit more, but it just feels like it's not set up exactly a way that easy to manipulate without breaking it too much. And let's take a look back at where we started from today. I'm one of those illustrators who will remain strapped to the drawing for days on end if somebody doesn't stop me, and I think that's a great way to be, to just get so deep into your work and so focused on it that you just lose all track of time. I love it when I get there, so I hope you guys experience that too, or at least you're pushing towards those kind of days. And then keep at it. Draw what you love, not what you think others will like or what's in vogue. No matter what medium you're using, keep doing it, keep progressing, keep working. I say this every day. I hope that I'm inspiring you guys to go out and just do, even if it's only for half an hour, even if it's only for an hour, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is that you're putting that time into pursuing the things that you love every day. And then don't worry about whatever's popular right now. Just worry about what's true to you, because that's the stuff that's gonna work for you. So it's gonna be the thing that you're passionate about. And it's not about just, oh, this is popular right now, so I'm going to do this, but I don't really care about it. But do what speaks to you. So that being said, thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you for some more animation tomorrow.